Hello, welcome back. Today we're looking at Orison episode 7 of season 7, premiering January 9th, 2000, making it the first episode of the new millennium. Orison follows Mulder and Scully as they must track down escaped serial killer and noted death fetishist Donnie Pfaster. The episode begins with Herschel from The Walking Dead giving a nice sermon to his fellow prisoners. He asks the others if they believe letting God in can save them. Now, I have my doubts even God could save Donnie Pfaster. I mean, you attack my girl Scully, God's chosen fighter of all things evil? There's no redemption for that. Reverend Orison does seem to have the other guys under a spell though. The prisoners are forced to sew clothing or something, though this guard isn't very happy with Donnie's half-assed attempt. You'd think for a guy that obsessed over women so much, he'd know how to use a sewing machine.
Oh! My head! My head!
I don't know how the hell that happens, but I think once you cut off the first finger, your natural instinct would be to remove your hands from the saw blade. The episode then goes into Zack Snyder's slow-mo. Well, everyone else except for Donnie. So does this mean Donnie has super speed powers? I mean, we already had one of those episodes this season. They also try to recreate Donnie walking towards the camera, but it was done so much better in Irresistible. You know, I would say Donnie Pfaster escaping prison would be the scariest thing in this episode, but that pales in comparison to whatever Scully's done to her hair. 666. I didn't know Scully was an Iron Maiden fan. Oh, 606. Maybe I do need glasses. Mulder and Scully are called on the case since they are the ones who caught Donnie in the first place, though Scully does look a bit shook up. Can't exactly blame her considering how things went last time.
I happen to know you two agents have a particular forte. A thing for, what is it called? The supernatural?
I mean, you could say that, though it always makes me laugh how when it's mentioned what Mulder and Scully investigate, Mulder tends to have this embarrassed look on his face, like even he knows that maybe it's all a bit too silly.
I promise you there is nothing supernatural about this man.
Yes, and he will remain that way for the rest of the episode. Scully makes her way to the prisoner's makeshift chapel and hears a strange song. Scully does seem to have an odd relationship with music. Mulder pops his head in and tells Scully maybe she should sit this one out. I mean, it was pretty traumatizing last time, but Scully's a fighter and likely doesn't want to appear weak.
At 6:06 this morning, Donnie Pfaster made it 3.
606.
Wait a minute, that's what Scully's alarm clock said. That has to be a coincidence, no? Also, just moments ago, Mulder said no one knows how Donnie escaped, but somehow they know the exact time? How does that one work? Mulder speaks with the prisoner who lost his fingers, though they seem to grow back pretty quick. Maybe he's a salamander monster too? The prisoner claims to have no knowledge of how Donnie escaped, but Mulder somehow knows he's been hypnotized by Orison. Mulder's never seen the sermon, so how did he know this would work? He starts rambling on about post-hypnotic suggestion, but again, how did he even know that would work? Mulder believes Orison is responsible for Donnie's escape, but in the meantime, there's that damn song again.
I haven't heard that song since high school. That's the second time I've heard it in the last hour.
Well, I think if it was a makeout song, I think it'd be ruined forever now, huh?
Are prisoners not allowed to listen to terrible makeout songs? I mean, they've got to do something while they're in there. In the meantime, Donnie's made his way to a diner at a bus depot. Even at a diner, he can't help but fantasize about some poor woman's fingers.
Looking for something to eat?
Me?
How about today's special?
Excuse me? I really hope she's talking about the soup and sandwich combo. So a prostitute tries getting Donnie's attention, but her fingers are a little on the rough side. Also, for what I'm going to assume is a meth head, her teeth are way too clean.
You just got out of prison, and you want to give me a manicure?
I'll even do your cuticles.
Maybe I was too quick to judge Donnie. He seems like a nice guy. He just wants to give this the pretty woman treatment. Unfortunately, he is rudely interrupted by Orison. What is this guy's issue? The US Marshals show up, but Orison has some spooky car key magic that allows the men to escape. maybe don't give your car keys to a serial killer. Mulder and Scully arrive only for the US Marshals to be like, well, I think we saw him. The agents do learn about Orison, who's been rushed to the hospital, but once again, there's that damn song. Scully starts giving Orison the rundown, claiming that a few prisoners have gone missing recently, prisoners that have come into contact with him. Orison starts rambling on about Scully getting a calling from God or some shit. He even calls her Scout, which will have some significance later. Mulder comes in asking Orison where the hell Donnie is, and showing him some lovely photos of what Donnie did to the poor girl from the diner. Turns out the Reverend is a killer himself, though he seems to believe that God is somehow directing him to watch over and kill Donnie Pfaster. If that's true, he's doing a pretty terrible job so far.
No, but I believe that the Reverend believes what he's saying, that it's God working through him.
Well, plenty of nutbags do.
Did Mulder just call Scully a nutbag? Also read the room a bit, Mulder. You might learn that your partner may be experiencing the same thing. Scully brings up a very nice story when she was just 13 years old and learned her Sunday school teacher was murdered. Also, strangely enough, that damn song just happened to be playing, so she's come to associate that song with pure evil. Strange how that song never played the first time she was in the presence of pure evil, but whatever. The name Scout was also the name her Sunday school teacher called her. I don't know about you, but this is all giving me a severe case of deja vu. Back with Donnie Pfaster, who discovers Orison's driver's license and I guess key to his house in the trunk. Not sure why he would keep them in his trunk. Meanwhile, Mulder believes he has the answer as to how the Reverend is able to speak to God, and that's because he drilled a hole in his head. Not sure why Scully is being so skeptical here when Mulder attempted to do the exact same thing. Orison uses his brain powers to stop time, steal a gun, and escape the hospital. Hey, remember earlier when I said the scariest thing in the episode was Scully's new haircut? Yeah, well, that was before I saw Donnie Pfaster in his tighty whities. Donnie called himself another lady of the night, but she seems way too calm to be in this apartment with this man. Why are you taking a bath, lady? Get the f*** out of there. The unfortunate thing for this woman is she didn't realize her client likes actual redheads, not some phony wearing a wig. Though wait until Donnie discovers what Scully's real hair color is. Hot wax is good for your skin, Donnie. It helps clean the pores. Mulder and Scully arrive at the hospital and find the marshal, who looks like he's seen infinity. They ask the man about Orison, but he's like, who's what with the where now? Scully finds a note that says, don't look any further, which is great. Now the song comes in closed captioning? Donnie wakes from his little wax facial to find Orison standing there with a gun. The two men decide to go out digging for night crawlers because there really is no better time than night. If I was Orison though, I'd make Donnie dig his own grave. Donnie sure does cry a lot for a guy who has no issues murdering women.
I promise you there is nothing supernatural about this man.
Yes, and he will remain that way for the rest of the episode.
I cry for you because you cannot kill me.
Oh, I guess I was wrong. He is supernatural. That's definitely not a dumb twist that ruins the character. Mulder and Scully arrive on the scene, finding the bodies of several prisoners, including Orison. The oddest part, though, is even though Donnie Pfaster is still missing, Mulder tells Scully this X-File is over and they should go home. What? Since when would Mulder stop looking for a serial killer, especially one that nearly killed his partner 5 years ago? Donnie Pfaster enters a random apartment, although it's not that random considering it's Scully's. She must be really tired, because she's putting on her pajamas, when by the looks of the light outside her window, it's like what, midday? Huh, well that's weird. I could have sworn I had that fixed.
Just talked to a call girl who ID'd Donnie Pfaster as an attacker. Claims Pfaster got real upset when she was wearing a red wig. Upset she wasn't a redhead. This mean anything to you?
Redhead. No, I don't think that means anything. Donnie and Scully now have a 90s Attitude Era street fight. I mean, we've got eye gouges.
Gouge his eyes.
Punches. And people getting slammed through glass. According to costume designer Nancy Collini, while Jillian didn't perform the stunt against the mirror, she did perform a lot of her own stunts, requiring Jillian to have 10 sets of pajamas. The original script for the episode also had Scully wearing a flannel nightgown, which is so Scully.
I'm going to run you a bath.
I totally get it, Scully. I'm more of a shower guy myself. Meanwhile, Mulder sets his radio, but notices it's playing the spooky song. Clearly, this means Scully is in trouble. Donnie puts the song on, but I have to ask, does Scully own the CD? Is there a radio station that plays it on a loop? How the hell is it always on? Donnie really takes his sweet ass time with setting up this bath. I mean, he gives Scully ample time to escape. Also, why does Scully have so many candles in her place? Ladies, let me know, is this normal? Things suddenly go slow motion again as Mulder arrives, just in time to save Scully. What would she do without this man? Kill a man in cold blood, apparently. Also, do you think maybe they got the idea for this shot from The Matrix? This is where things get interesting, because technically Scully murdered an unarmed man. He could have easily been apprehended by both her and Mulder, but knowing this, Mulder actually covers for her in his report. If he hadn't, she likely could have been investigated and even done some prison time, and she is way too pretty for prison.
What made me pull the trigger?
You mean if it was God?
I mean, what if it wasn't?
Orison is a decent episode, but what has always frustrated me about it is how it kind of ruins Donnie Pfaster. What I loved about Donnie in Irresistible was how ambiguous he was. Was he a demon? Was he simply evil? You were kind of allowed to bring whatever interpretation to the character you wanted, but now, well, he's just a demon. It sort of cheapens what made him so interesting back in season 2. Sure, he changed into a demon in the original episode, but that was more of a metaphorical thing. He wasn't actually supposed to be a monster. It was more of a representation of just how evil he was. Taking that and saying, nah, he was always a demon is kind of boring, honestly. The episode also feels like a combination of Irresistible and Beyond the Sea. What with Donnie Pfaster, the song from Scully's childhood, and the religious symbolism, though just not nearly as interesting as either. What is interesting is Irresistible led to Chris Carter creating Millennium, a series not necessarily about supernatural evil, but the evil of man. When the series was cancelled in 1999, much of the crew left to work on other projects. However, Chris Carter decided to bring on Millennium producer and writer Chip Johansson to write this episode, so it's almost like things came full circle. Originally, Johansson's idea focused on a prisoner who could stop time, which is sort of there with Orison's ability to slow time. The other part of the story was going to focus on Scully and her connection to a strange song from her childhood. During season 7, there were discussions about bringing back a monster from years past, and according to Chris Carter, we had talked about possibly revisiting some old monsters in season 7, and this seemed like the perfect opportunity. We knew that Donnie had some history with Scully from Irresistible, and that bringing him back would set up all sorts of possibilities with Scully. Bringing Donnie Pfaster back into the mix was a great way of tying everything into Scully. It was also the similarities to Beyond the Sea that got Chris Carter excited about the episode. But let's be honest, this is no Beyond the Sea. Producer Frank Spotnitz was also excited about Pfaster's return, saying, "For me, what really justified bringing Donnie back was the final act of the script when Donnie comes for Scully, and she ends up shooting him full of holes. Once we decided to bring Donnie back, we all started to get excited by the script." It's funny because looking back, I don't know if turning Scully into a stone-cold killer was exactly the right choice. I mean, I understand why she did it, but it does also sort of betray her character a bit. The one thing I really don't like about this episode is how they took the guesswork out of Donnie and made him an actual demon. According to John Sheban, this was a decision that was made deep into the development of the episode, as they were trying to make Donnie feel bigger than life, but it really just makes him feel more generic as a monster. According to Spotnitz, the difficult part about the episode was trying to figure out what to do with Donnie Pfaster, considering the most interesting aspects had been used in the previous episode. If you feel you've used up all the interesting ideas already, I'm not sure why you would even bother, but it was the addition of Orison, another bad guy, who, let's be honest, is completely overshadowed by Donnie, that the producers felt brought something new to the story. Jillian had claimed Irresistible was one of her favorite episodes from back in the day. However, after working with Nick Chinlund again, she said, "Working with Nick Chinlund again was freaky. I had almost forgotten how intense he was." The demon persona of Donnie was brought to life by effects artist John Vulich. The issue was, however, Vulich had no photos of the original makeup to work off of. While waiting for photos of the makeup from Vancouver effects artist Toby Lindala, Vulich instead decided to go online and found some reference photos on some X-Files fan sites. It's kind of strange they wouldn't have something like this on hand at the studio, or even some rough footage he could have looked at, but leave it to the X-Files fans to care more about the series than the people actually putting it together. Orison currently sits at 7.5 on IMDb. Now, I do enjoy this one, but it is a lesser imitation of better episodes from the past, so I'll likely give this one a 7. Up next, Mulder and Scully investigate the decapitation of a fairground magician, who may have already been dead, in the episode The Amazing Malini. So what do you think about Orison? Let me know down below. Anyways, that's all for today. I hope you're doing great and stay spooky.
5 years ago, Agent Scully thought she locked up a serial killer for good.
He walked out and no one seems to know how he did it.
Now he's back
The man abducted you.
to finish
He was just plain evil.
what he started.
You're the one that got away.
The X-Files, an all-new episode at 9, 8 Central, Fox Sunday.
Huge thanks to all my channel members. You're the real MVPs of the Spooky Squad. Your support helps keep the lights flickering and the monsters fed. If you'd like to join up and help support the channel, check out the join button below. But no pressure, just watching and liking helps a ton too.